Hello guys, how are you doing? My name is Eddy. Eddy Jonyo. I'm from Kenya. I am 32 years old from Kenya. I'm born and raised in a small town called Oyugis Town in Homa Bay County. That is the Nyanza side, or rather the Lake region side of the Kenyan country. So I want to tell you guys a story. It's about my deliverance. It's about how God has been able to deliver me from the power that was withholding me in regards to my destiny, in regards to me as a person, in regards to my potential, in regards to, how can I put it, in regards to my star, in regards to my kingdom as a human being, in regards to how I'm supposed to be able to achieve my things. So I'd tell you a story, but first I'd want to first start it with a prayer, so that the reason why I'm having a pre-recorded story is because sometimes the forces that were behind the incident, sometimes they do not allow me to talk about it to people. Whenever I try to discuss this issue with people, they tend to get confused, or rather they tend to be distracted, because the forces behind the incident, the forces behind the forces that were in control, rather, of my spirit at the time, do not want me to reveal the truth. So whenever I try to talk it to human beings who are not godly, people who are not pastor or spiritual leaders, they tend to get distracted by the forces, or rather they tend to be the evil forces that lurks around. They tend to want to create a distraction, or rather create confusion, so that the truth may not come out. So in this case, I'd want to first allow the Spirit of the Lord to take full charge. I'd want to allow the Spirit of God to come down in my presence right now, and in the presence of my voice, wherever you are, wherever you'll be watching this video, in your areas, whichever spirits that may be lurking around can get to a point whereby they are not active, to a point whereby now you'll be able to understand what I'm about to say in full gear, in full, without distraction, without feeling, without feeling confused in the process. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, may you allow your spirit, allow your angelic beings, allow your support system to come down, to guide me through this matter, to guide me through this conversation, to enable me and lead me to speak, and to enable to how to capture my tongues, to illustrate and to be able to communicate effectively to these people. Father, may this conversation lead to deliverance of somebody else somewhere in the world, just like you are able to deliver me. Lord, may these people feel your power and your authority. May you capture your presence. May your presence be felt into every dimension of my voice, wherever my voice will be heard, in every place in this country, in this world. Let my voice carry the authority. Let my voice carry and walk with the authority in every dimension. In the name of Jesus and the Holy Spirit, I pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Okay, guys, so my story is very simple. It is not simple per se, but it's very deep in its own way. But I'll try and use words. I'll try and use illustrations in regards to words, illustrations. I'll try and be as effective as I can while explaining this thing. So I grew up. I'd want to give you first a picture of my history. I'd want to give you an understanding of my history, where I come from, how I grew up, and how God has enabled me to be here, to be alive. I almost died. I almost died because I was under some spell that was cast against me by some people. God has been able to reveal to me who they are. I've been able to see visions. I've been able to see what transpired and what truly was happening without my knowledge at the time. The things that were distracting me as a person, not trying to live a decent life and all those kind of things as a normal person should. So I'd want to first give you a brief history of my life. So I grew up as a firstborn. I'm a firstborn son to my mother and my father. They are alive, and we are 5 siblings. So the rest, all of us, we are above 18 now. I may not want to mention their names in this conversation because they are adults, and for one reason or the other, they are striving in their different areas, and I'd want to protect them from that and not expose them to this because this is a personal story. This is a personal issue. I may not want to be able to bring my siblings, who also have their own personal experiences, into this. So I'd withhold their names. Uh, Me as a firstborn son, life was easy. Life was easy. My dad was working in the government as an auditor in the Kenyan government. That is, my mom also a teacher. So they were both civil servants. My dad is currently retired, but they are both civil servants, and we didn't lack in regards to necessities, in regards to food, shelter, clothing. Basically, we didn't lack. We were not entirely rich. We were not overwhelmingly rich. We are not. We were the. I believe there's the upper class, then there's the middle, upper middle, and then there's the lower, and then there's the poor. So I think we were either between the middle or lower middle class. Or to say the least, my dad could afford to have his home, have his children, take them to school, provide for them food, shelter, clothing, the basic items without lacking, and a bit of luxury here and there sometimes. But growing up, my life was I didn't face any challenges in regards to growing up. I didn't face any. There weren't major issues. There wasn't any form of trauma. There wasn't any form of mistreatment. There wasn't any form of. I grew up. I was taken to academy schools. One of the best at the time in growing up in my hometown. Uh, that is after I'd gone through a nursery school, which was also the best at the time. So education-wise, we were well exposed, considering my dad worked with the Minister of Education, and my mom was also a teacher. So they ensured that we had proper education. We were well taken care of in regards to that aspect. So my parents, growing up, all they demanded from me as their first child was that I be very very responsible. I be very very serious. I be very very dedicated, focused, and as a good example. So we grew up like that. Later on, I went to high school. Later on, I went to campus. I went to a private university known as the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. So um, this happened entirely because my parents were educated. They were education oriented. They were exposed to that life early. And my dad being a man who was an auditor. An auditor is somebody who is heavily invested in regards to school development and education system. So he was exposed to different people, and he knew exactly what it takes, or rather what it took to raise children. He wanted the best for us, particularly uh, me being the first child. I had to go through some of the best because I had to be a role model. I had to be a good example. He is very supportive. The old man is one of the best men you can ever find. Yeah, I had a good father. I have him. He's still alive though. I cannot take any marks away from him in regards to parenthood, in regards to a father. We were very close. The last time, as a child growing up, the last time he raised his hand on me was when I was in nursery school. Uh, that is the last time my dad came, as an African parent, because this is for one particular reason, because I had skipped school. Back in the 90s, there used to be this TV series on Sundays, and there used to be a lot of guys back then, they didn't have TVs. So on this particular occasion, when I could go to school on Monday, in the nursery school, there were children who did not watch the episode. They did not get the opportunity to watch it. So one day I come from school because with another guy, there was a repeat on Monday's morning. And kawaida, my dad will be gone. By Monday, he'll be gone back to work, and my mom will be in school. So I come from, it was a walking distance from my school. I come from school with another guy because the episode of it was the of Sinbad the previous Sunday had been very very nice, and I wanted the child to watch because they didn't have TVs. So I was like, how can you miss such an opportunity? How could you, as a child, how could you not see? How could you not have watched that? So I took. So we skipped school. We skipped school, and during bedtime. So when we were going back to the house to go watch the repeat of Sinbad on Monday in the morning around 10 a.m., I come home, but this time around my dad hadn't gone to work. He was standing there. He was standing there, and I remember he canned me because I had skipped school, but he didn't touch the other kid. He canned me alone, and he told me to watch it. After caning me, he gave me a permission to watch it, but now I could not watch it because I'd been caned. So I simply took myself back to school, and from there I never skipped school, whether in primary, whether in high school. I never. And that is the last time he also, as a parent, laid his hands on me. He is a gentleman. He's a gentleman, and he struggled. He struggled to give us the best. He did. He did give us the best growing up. So I credit my education. I credit me being me for his treatment, for his upbringing, because it taught me how to be an independent thinker from very young. I had to now decide on my own what I really want. I didn't have to be pushed or caned or be in a mischievous state. So I grew up knowing that this is all I want to do, you know, because there's nobody who is going to pressure me, there's nobody who is going to cane me, there's nobody who is going to concern. It was now directly, it was like a natural knowledge that I had acquired from that experience. So I grew up coming from school, sitting later on in primary, early upper primary, and lower primary. I could come from school, immerse myself in my books. I used to read a lot of storybooks, the likes of Martin Luther. I think I read by the class 4. I was well exposed to these things because my mom would go to school, pick a book from the library, bring to me in the evening. So this gave me an opportunity to read. I read a lot of books. I read a lot of stuff. the things Martin Luther King as early as class 4. I had a dream. I was exposed to that. By the time I reached high school, I was already into 48 laws of power. By the time I had so much, I had covered so many things that were interesting. Magazines, the bars at the time, different elements and different exposure. So I knew a lot. I was exposed to issues, current affairs, the things that were happening within the world and within the country, but more importantly, even outside the world, because I was now getting, I'm reading A, I'm reading B, I'm reading C, I'm reading novels, I'm reading storybooks, I'm reading magazines, I'm reading. So I never used to really play a lot with children, or rather my age mates outside. Mostly it was for me indoors, and that is how life went. So fast forward to campus, I go to campus and then I graduate in the year 2016. So I get my first degree, Bachelor's of Commerce, Finance, and then I clear school. And when I cleared school, my dad be like any normal African parent. Now he was of the opinion that, oh, so you graduated, you're a man, go take care of yourself and hustle kama wengine, because now ushamaliza shule. So sorry for the Swahili. The reason I'm using English is because I don't know who will be watching this, and so I don't want to use Kiswahili. Now, I finished campus in 2016. I graduated. It was a big deal because now I've graduated. My dad was happy. He was happy. He was very much happy for me. My mother is also there, but my dad and I had this bond, so he was very, very happy. And most importantly, being a firstborn son, getting your first child, going through all those processes until they clear education and they do their graduation without any issue, without any form of scandal, without any form of because you understand what happens in campus. There's drugs addiction. There's a lot of distractions that can make somebody lose their life, or maybe even lose their focus or lose. So it is not an easy journey, but he was happy because he for once had achieved something that made him proud, and he could go around and say, hey, he was a respected man in his circles. So he wanted that. So after grad school, I worked hard. I also tried, just like any normal human being out there. I was on and off. When you clear school, you have high expectations, you have high ambitions. You want to achieve. You really want to do what to achieve, because the education gives you a lot of exposure. You get to meet different kinds of people. You get to see the world for what the world is. And Catholic University was an international school, so I had experiences meeting different kinds of people from different countries, and this gave me a lot of insight in regards to what the world looks like, in regards to what I as a person needs to be working to. you know so the local mentality was outgrown when I went to the school, which was a good exposure. It was a good exposure that really shaped me, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. So fast forward, I maliza school, I finished school, then I start tamaking. I tamak for 7 years, and at some point, just like any other normal graduate out there, if you don't have a job, you want to try and do this small business. You start small, you do up and down. There's no capital for you to start. So you do whatever you can do. You go to odd labor, you do mjengo, as you are working hard towards your life. So my journey with tamaking took 7 years. 2016, so I come back and I started working with small companies here and there. but mostly were sales, and they were commission based, so they were not reliable, they were not effective. I wouldn't consider them per se. So I finished campus. I finish. No, I finished campus now. But now, 7 years down the line, 2021, I think, between 2016 to 2021, that's like 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. I mean, 6, 7 years, I think. So I got a job after a very long time. So fast forward, I get a job after a very long time. And when I got this job, when I got this job, things changed. Things changed because before I got the job, this is where now this is one of the key interesting parts of how God has enabled me, or how God has worked with me in this journey. Because without these things happening, I wouldn't have seen, or rather, I wouldn't have known or appreciated the hand of God in my life. So, a couple of months, somewhere in 2021. So one day I go to an odd job somewhere in Narok town, and I got to a level whereby I'd been working odd jobs. At some point, I worked in a car wash, just doing the normal. You get your 400 shillings and all that. You've forgotten all your certificates. I keep on sending my resumes in different companies, but there wasn't any form of response. So, 2021, I get to a level where I get to Narok town, and when I go to Narok town, I didn't know anybody, but my mom stays there, so I was under, I was with my mom at the time, but I had come to visit her for a short period of time. But in the process, I overstayed. I stayed for like 6 months, and then so one day, because now I'm in Narok, I cannot be asking for money. I need some money for my ABCD, for airtime. I need money for this. I need money for that, and so I cannot be asking parents for money, you know, at that time. So the least I could do was to go get an odd job, because I didn't know where to start from. I'm new in this town. I don't know anybody. I don't know any organization that I can approach. I don't know, because mostly in Kenya nowadays it's all about connection, connection, connection. So many very strange stories about connection. So I decided to start somewhere, do the odd job. So one day I go to look for a job somewhere in a site. It's an organization. It's someone's it's a business place. But it has different categories, different jobs that could be done there. So I worked there, and for the first time, the first job they gave me, I was cleaning up a pig's den. You know, cleaning up a pig den to get paid 400 shillings. That is in 2021. So when the guy gave me the job, I was a bit scared, because even the people who are working there, the guys who do the stuff, we are not. I don't know how to put this, but some of them didn't get the opportunity to go to school. Most of them are there. Most of them are just people from, you understand, the people who can do those kind of jobs. But I said, I humbled myself, really, because the place is smelly. It is really smelling. It is really dirty, really smelling, and there are pigs. There were over like 100 pigs, the adults, the small ones. So we had to feed them, clean up the place, then feed them again, clean up the place. That was for the day's job. Clean up their pen, feed them, wash up the pen again, feed them until evening. Then you get 400 shillings. So I remember telling God, because I at that time I was not happy, you know. I was not happy because I asked myself, God, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Huh? Of all the places that I could be, of all the places that you could take me in this country, in this world, of all the places, there are different kinds of places in this world. There's a lot of great opportunities in this world. But Lord, why have you placed me here? You know, do you know, like I graduated 7 years ago. I've tried taking it in, but I cannot. You know, I cannot take it in anymore. This is too much. This is way below what I expect as a person, based on my education, based on my upbringing, based on generally how we grew up. I didn't. I knew that was way below my. Can I call it food chain? It was way below my standard, considering you've gone to an international school, considering you've blah blah blah, all those kind of things. So I told God, no, God, this is in my heart. But I took like 5 minutes, talked to myself and talked to God about it. I didn't pray. I just thought about it in my own state. But I said, no, let me just do the job. It's 400 bob. Yeah, I don't have the 400 bob now. So let me go do the job, then I'll go. So I did the job and I got paid the 400 shillings. So a few days later, I left Narok town, went back home. So I stayed home for 1 month. Yeah, 1 month. And this is now what God did to me, from the pigsty to me getting a job. 1 month. So I get back home from Narok town. My home is in Oyugis town. I go back home, and I remember it was on a Thursday. It was on a Thursday. One Thursday evening, I was now having my phone and I was scrolling through Brighter Monday. It's a recruitment platform. It's where you can get jobs. So I'm scrolling 1 month later from moving from Narok town, after washing the pigs and talking to my heart and saying that no, enough is enough. You know, I did not pray like, no, God, oh, I did not even cry about it, but it gave me a realization. Like I was like, okay, do I really deserve to be here? But why am I washing pigs in the first place? You know, am I orphan? Am I an orphan? You know, am I an orphan? Why am I doing this? Even if I was an orphan, you know. Mhm. So I simply took my bags, went back home, because now I wanted to go talk to my dad about what we can do to secure for me a spot anywhere within the job market, within the government, because he had been in the government for several years, and I thought that now was the proper time to go discuss this with him and tell him whatever it is that needs to be done, uh, let it be done, because there are friends of mine that had secured positions in government, several of them. So they had told me how they did it. They told me how they did it, and I felt like, let me go talk to my dad, because now imefika point whereby I'm washing pigs, but I'm not an orphan. Hmm? Makiu, I'm not even a last born. I'm like the first born, and I'm a graduate, for heaven's sake, from a reputable university. You know, so I said no. Even if this is what it means to be a man, kujituma. Even if this is what it means to be a man, to pull yourself and push yourself and overcome your boundaries. but this is too low for me now. So let me go and talk to the old man. So when I'm back home, we didn't even talk with the old man. So one day I'm sitting. We didn't get to the serious level of talk with him as in regards to what I wanted him to do. I wanted him to secure for me some money so that I could go, you know, secure a job. We didn't get to that level. So one day as one day as I'm scrolling my phone, I see a job posting in Brighter Monday. So the job goes, oh, we are looking for this, blah 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 blah. It was a sales job. So what do? I send my resume. Then I was called for an interview. My first time the interview was done via Zoom. It was actually Teams, Microsoft. Uh, they do an interview for me via Teams. They schedule. I explained everything that I could do as a person. The following day, the HR calls me and tells me, "Yo, you've been selected for the position, and you are posted. Come on Monday for onboarding training. The onboarding training was to be in Kisumu town for 1 week. So come on Monday for the onboarding training." So I was happy. I was very happy because for once I've gotten a job without any form of connection. Number one, yeah. I did not go bribe anyone. I did not conduct a physical interview where I would have said that I met these people. There was favoritism. It was just God's work. It was God's work. Immediately after 1 month from the pigsty. So that was my first encounter with seeing what God can do. Immediately after the first level, I say that I'm tired because I'm tired. Then a month later, oh, I'm gotten a job. So guess what? The job is with a reputable company. I'm the team lead. I happen to now be the position was a team lead. I'm supposed to manage a staff or formal staff of around 5 guys and the informal staff of around the sales team now, the sales agents, the ones that are being paid on commissions, uh, of over 100 people. So it's a big deal because now I'm a boss. My first job, I'm a boss. You know, I did not grow up the ladder, but God pulled me from the lowest part to the position of influence. So I realized, this is, and mind you, I did not know anybody. There's nobody that made a referral. There's nobody that made a phone call. There's nobody that uh, suggested to me that, oh, this person. There wasn't anything like that. Mind you, the people who did the interview to me, I had never met them. I later met them after the training. After the training, because the people who conducted the training was the HR team in the DC. So I will withhold the company name for reasons. It's a reputable company though. So yeah, I do the job for. I had a 6 months probation, so I do struggle the first 6 months to get things right, and then I fall in place somewhere. That was around November 2021. So I fall in place somewhere in after February, March. I fall in place after the 6 months probation. I fall in place. I now know what to do. I now know what the job entails. So I'm steady, you know. So life changed. Life changed. There was a lot of blessings in my direction, resources. My dad was very supportive. He gave me a lot of resources, a lot of support. He was very happy because he was very, very happy. And as a parent, when a parent is happy, you understand what goes on when a parent is happy. So he was very happy. My mom was very happy. We have a son. He settled. There's a lady who came to my life. She was very supportive. You know, And being a team leader, she came with the right components for me, because now she shaped me into the man that a king, in quotes, a king, as a leader, as a team leader in an organization. As it was more like a branch leader, a branch manager. So she came and she was very supportive and very wise in regards to how a wife could be. So we tried dating this lady for some time. Took she takes good care of me as a man. Things were looking good. Things were looking good. My face that you are seeing right now is not the face that I usually have. This is just but a face after different kinds of experiences. I've recovered recently, so I'll be for that's why. But I was better off and good, better looking than this that you're seeing right now. But anyway, my point is, along the line, when certain people somewhere saw the progress, hmm? When certain people somewhere saw the progress, I was attacked, and I was attacked spiritually. I was attacked spiritually. I didn't know, because I didn't grow up with those kind of things. We grew up a family of churchgoers, but I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. And somewhere along the line, I lose my job, or things get tough. I lose my wife. I lose my things. I lose my direction. I lose. At some point, I end up in prison, remand prison for 2 weeks. Things get too tough. There was confusion between me and family members. My dad gets very wild, very, very wild. I cannot talk to him. My wife, the lady that I was staying with, gets very, very off, abnormal way. She cannot talk to me. She's nowhere to be seen. There's a lot of confusion. My friends are not there. There is no money. There is no finances. My life became something different. Uh, it became something very different, because I didn't know, I didn't know how to pray. I did not know that I was battling a very deep spiritual issue. I did not know anything. For me, I thought, okay, well, I've done what is the worst that I've not done. I've been to a pigsty, so I'll just adjust. I've worked as a mjengo. I've worked in these kind of places. So you know what? I'll just adjust. I'll just pull up myself, pick up what is a job. After all, it was a contract job, so it was meant to get over. So I'm pulling myself. Still, I used to drink at the time. The social thing. You go, you see, you drink, you don't go to church. You drink, you move up and down, you pull yourself, you push yourself as a man can push himself, because this is just a matter of these people. They don't want to talk to me because life has changed, things have become tough. That is what I was telling myself, that they have left because life has changed. My dad, I felt like he was disappointed because now there's no job. My wife is not there. The pride, the things that were giving him joy, the success that I had, so it's making him confused. But I did not know. My friend, I didn't know. So this thing put me in prison once. It puts me in prison the second time. Just some things just happen. It's not like I was making any move. I did not make any form of. I did not do anything criminal to warrant all that. I didn't do anything. You know, I'm a very law-abiding citizen. I'm a very honest man. I'm very, very, very righteous, and I'm a man who takes it in the way it comes. I take life the way it comes, and I didn't know that these issues, these misfortunes that were following me, I didn't know their origin. So later on, Somewhere along the line, that is 2023, things get tough, time goes, but nothing seems to change. Things are just getting tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher. There's lack of communication about between me and my lady. There's lack of everything. I'm confused. I have this constant headache all the time. I feel like I'm fatigued most of the time. I feel like I'm having some sort of pressure. I cannot think straight. Even the things that I plan to do, they end up failing most of the time. I plan A, but when the time reaches for me to achieve or accomplish the goal, nothing works. Things go southwards, things change. So towards around half the year, around half the year, between half the year and August, my mom calls me. At the time now I was in Bungoma town. I left Oyugis town, went to Bungoma, stayed in Bungoma for 3 months, went back to Kisii town now. So I'm moving up and down, trying to get things right. But nothing is working in every direction I take. So my mom calls me one day. She says, no, she didn't call. I happened to visit her. I happened to visit her. I had gone to Nairobi. So on my way from Nairobi, I passed at a place in Narok. So my mom tells me, I had a dream. I had a dream, and in the dream she could see something beneath my my bed, beneath the the pillowcase. In the dream, she can see that beneath the pillowcase where I sleep, there is a cobweb, there is a lizard, there is a snail, there is a frog, and the place is like it's spread. It has been spread nicely, and then these things are there. It's in the vision is below my pillow in the dream, and as she's looking at these things, wondering what is this thing, somebody comes and pulls out those things and say, these are not things that you should be. These are not things that we should be ignoring. These are not things that you should be ignoring in the dream now. These are not things that you should be ignoring. These are things that you should be throwing out and burning. So that was the first dream my mom sees. And she wakes up. So when I came to her place, she tells me this story that she had seen a dream. Another second dream she had was of a child. Hmm? She had two very serious dreams. My mom prays a lot, so these visions were coming to her. These visions were coming to her. So the second dream she has, she can see a child crying. The child is being held by another woman, a very young baby, but the baby is really crying, according to what she could see in the vision. The baby is really crying because the baby is at pain. The hands are squeezed. It's like the fingers are like tightened. They are very clasped. The hands, fingers, and the leg feet are very clasped. So the kid is at pain. The kid is so much at pain, and she's wondering what is this kid crying so much. So when she goes to look at the kid closely, she pulls these things, and those things they leave. The things that were withholding the hands, they were like some sort of scales. Huh? So she pulls these things, and the kids. But on a closer look, the child, it's a child. On a closer look, she sees that the child is me. You know, she sees that the child is me. This is like Eddy. So she gets confused. She tries to share this with a few of her friends, and they laugh. So later on, my mom starts calling me seriously. That Ed, you need to pray. Now this is the interesting part. I'm getting into the interesting part. My mom now calls me seriously. Eddy, you need to pray. You need to pray. And she tells me another thing. She tells me that take some salt. Take some salt, sprinkle it wherever you are staying. Sprinkle it wherever you are staying. Sprinkle the salt in your house. Sprinkle it all over the house. Take some water, put salt in it, sprinkle. So for me, I was like, what is, what is all this? What is she saying? What is all this? So I thought like my mom is, just depressed because of the situation, because she's not seeing the success of her children come forth as fast as they should. But nevertheless, I simply said, after all, she is my mother. She's not going to lie to me. So whatever happens is, even if I sprinkle the salt, there's no, there's nothing I have to lose, in regards to that. So I do the sprinkling, I do the sprinkling, I do the sprinkling. So one day things continue getting tough because now I cannot afford to pay my rent, I cannot afford to move. So one day I get back home. One day I get back home, and the reason why I left now at that point I was staying in Kisi town, so I could not afford to pay a rent of 3 months. It was now a single room, 3,500 per month. Yet I could not even afford. Things were very tough, I cannot move. Nothing is moving, like really moving. So I sell my things, the things that I had. I just sold them, the things that I had in the house. I sold them, got my money. I decided that I'm going back home. So before I went back home, I went to, a social place. I went to a social place, and I drank the money. I I drank the money. So at that time now I'm homeless. I don't have a house. I don't have anything. I've drank the money. I've drank the money. So what do? Get back home to Yugis. Back to Yugistan. In fact, I remember I didn't even have the fare to go to Yugis at the time. I remember I trekked that night. That it was that day. It was on a Thursday now because I sold the things on Wednesday. I drank it the entire Wednesday night. Thursday, I trekked from Yugis to Kisii. It's around 30 kilometers. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm done. I was very, very much done. So I say, even if it's that trekking, let me trek. And I want to remember, at this time of the year, I had not been in good terms with my dad. We were not in good terms. Things were just happening. She was very, 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 very wild. I didn't understand what was happening at the time, and I cannot blame him for that right now because I now know the truth. But I didn't understand at the time why my dad was wild. So I said, enough is enough. I'm tired. After all, I am very tired. It doesn't matter how many years old I am, I have to go home. So I trekked back home. From 6 p.m. to around 9 p.m. 6 p.m. to around 10 p.m. It's around 30 kilometers. I don't know, maybe 20. So I did the trekking and reached home. Knocked, got into the house and slept. So the following day, it was on a Friday. The following day, I was now reading the Bible. I found a Bible in his house. And this is what my point is. God speaks. I find the Bible in his house. What do I see? The first verse I met was the book of Proverbs. I don't remember the exact chapter, but the first verse I opened, because I opened it randomly, was about alcohol. It was about alcohol, or how alcohol can put you in a position whereby you even sell your beddings. Alcohol can put you to shame. That is the first verse I met at Friday morning. I opened the verse. That is the first verse I read, and I was very, very scared. I asked myself, what is this? What is this that I'm seeing? Because I've just sold my things and I've drank them, and I'm now homeless. I am 30 years old. I don't have anything. I don't have a place. I don't have a job, no wife, no kid. I just wondered, what is this that I'm seeing? What is this that I'm seeing? Well, God was speaking to me. So on that particular point in time, I said, enough is enough. I've quit. I've quit drinking. But I used to wonder, am I the only person who drinks? Deep down behind my back, am I the only graduate who is drinking and all this? But I made a decision at that time. Why is it my life so difficult? Even if I'm drinking, yeah, but why is my life so difficult? It's not like I drink like, it's not like I'm an addict to shakes. It's not like I'm somebody who I am very disciplined. I'm very organized. I do my things. I've been a team leader for heaven's sake. I've been a respected man in the company by people. I've been a respected man in the society. As a youth, I've been respected. I've had my resources. But why is this thing so hard? Why is it not like normal? So, but nevertheless, I said, ah, let it be. If that is what the Bible talks about alcohol, let it be. So, fast forward, I stay home for 1 week. Uh, Friday passes, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I remember the salt issue on Sunday. I sprinkle salt on Sunday. Come Monday, I sit down. Come Wednesday, now like because it was almost a week. Come the following week, Wednesday, uh, I was reading the verse, the Bible, and I met the book of Isaiah, chapter 8. And this is the interesting part now. This is where it gets very, very interesting. I get to read the book of Isaiah, chapter 8. And in my verse, it was saying, why do you consult mediums and spirits? Yet I, the true living God, is alive. Why do you consult mediums and spirits? Yet I, the true living God, is alive. This thing opened my eyes because now I understood what my mom was telling me about the snails and the frogs. I remembered the story she had told me because these had been now months, like 2, 3 months down the line, since she told me she had a dream. So I remember what she said, and I remember personally, I've never affiliated myself with any demon. I've never gone to any form of spiritual issues. Why am I reading this verse? Why am I reading this verse? And because you have to understand that I did not know much about the Bible. I was just flipping pages. So whenever I flip a page, I see something that speaks to me. So remember, I've read the verse about alcohol some few days now. So I flip on this one. It's like it's speaking to me again. But the question is, why am I reading this verse? Hmm? Personally, I've never been to any form of spiritual issues. I've never affiliated myself with those things. I'm very, very innocent in regards to those issues. So, but I said, maybe it's what mom was telling me she could see in a dream. Maybe it's what mom was telling me she's saying in a dream. So I started praying. I remember I prayed in the middle of the night until around 12 midnight. I slept after 12. I woke up around 4 5 a.m. Started praying again. Started praying again. Started praying again. I started praying, and at some point, as it was the morning, when the morning now was the dawn is approaching, I started feeling happy. I started feeling happy. I started feeling joyous. I started feeling relief. All of a sudden, I was feeling like I'm high. I'm feeling some funny feeling. I'm feeling very joyous. I was very, very happy, and I started singing. There's a song that came to my mind at the time. It goes like, "This is the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. That the Lord has made. We shall rejoice. We shall rejoice. What the Lord has done. What the Lord has done." So I'm very hyped. It's around 6 a.m. now. I'm very hyped, and this song is singing in my head. I start singing it, and I start singing it, and I start sweeping the house. I start sweeping my dad's house. I start sweeping everything. I start cleaning. I'm cleaning the house, and when I reached a certain section towards the area of the kitchen, there's a storeroom there. I find things. I found things, my friends. I found things. I found my clothes. I found my clothes. I found my cloth had been tied. I found a stone. The stone had been wrapped using my cloth. Like it's now, the stone is wearing my cloth, and there's a chain on top. There's a chain that is tying this cloth firmly onto the stone. So the stone is inside. You can only see the cover. You can only see the clothing. And then now there's the chain on top. That is a very big, strong chain that is tying this stone. Then it's placed directly on the corner. Hmm? In the corner of the stone. Directly at the corner there, it's there. So I see this thing and I realize, what is this that I'm seeing? What is this that I'm seeing? What is this that I'm seeing? And I remember when I left, when my mom was calling me, she kept telling me, Ed, you know, you are the cornerstone of this home. You are the cornerstone of this family. Because, I'm the firstborn. I'm their first child. So she could tell me this, you are the first, you are the cornerstone of this family. So I find this thing, and then it was just there. My eyes were literally open. At that moment, my eyes were literally open. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. But my first instinct was to burn them. My first instinct was to burn them. So in the process of getting it out and burning all these things and all the things that had been cleaning out of the house, in the process of burning these things, I see the cloud forming. I see the cloud forming, The cloud now formed because it was not a rainy day, but the cloud formed. It was around 10 a.m. in the morning, 10, 9, 8, 8, between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. somewhere at that time. So the cloud forms in the sky. Then there's darkness. My friends, this is a true story. The cloud forms and there's darkness. There's now darkness. There's no sunlight. So immediately I start burning this thing. The sun opens its eyes. The sun opens its eyes. So wherever I am, the sun could now directly be shining on me, on my face directly at that particular point in time. So I realized, what the hell is going on here? God was now speaking to me directly at that time that I have found what is ailing me. Somebody has been delivered. My deliverance had a sign. God shone his direct sun upon my face that day. It was in the morning. I remember vividly because I was also very confused at the time because I didn't have the knowledge that was needed. I didn't have so much spiritual knowledge at the time. Right now I've done a lot of research, I've done a lot of prayers. It is now 6 months from December 2023. Right now we're in July. It's 7 months, 8 months now. But I've been trying to understand, and I've realized that this is a story that I cannot keep to myself. So the sun shone in my face. At that point I realized that God loves me. And later on I came to understand that God loves all of us. But to me, that was respect. That was a sign of God showing me that he not only loves me, but he respects me for delivering me from all these forms of darkness to be in this particular state. I need you to understand also that there is no spiritual leader. There is no spiritual leader that was with me at that time. I was alone. It was only the Spirit of the Lord that was working with me. For once, having made that decision that no, enough is